Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to hold a scalpel in your hand, ready to save a life, only to uncover a betrayal so deep it shatters your entire world in the blink of an eye? Subscribe now to this channel for more gripping emotional tales that will leave you breathless, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a story like this one, where secrets unravel in the most unexpected places. Now dive into the heart-wrenching suspense of I operated a pregnant woman and found out that the father of the baby was my husband. In the dim glow of the operating room lights, where the sterile air hummed with the steady beep of monitors and the faint scent of antiseptic lingered like a ghost, I stood there, scrubbed in my surgical gown, masking the turmoil brewing inside me. As Dr. Elena Ramirez, a renowned obstetric surgeon with years of saving mothers and babies under my belt, but nothing could have prepared me for this night. A stormy evening in late autumn when the emergency call came in. A young woman in her late 20s involved in a horrific car crash, her belly swollen with the promise of new life, now threatened by internal bleeding and a placenta abruption that demanded immediate intervention. My team rushed her into the OR, her face pale and streaked with blood, her eyes fluttering open just long enough to whisper, "Help, my baby, please." And in that moment, I felt the familiar surge of adrenaline, the drive to preserve life at all costs, little knowing that this surgery would slice open not just her abdomen, but the very fabric of my own existence. My husband Marcus, a charming cardiologist whom I had married 5 years ago in a whirlwind romance filled with laughter and shared dreams of a family we both longed for, but struggled to conceive due to my endometriosis that had left us heartbroken after multiple failed IVF attempts. He had always been my rock, supportive through every late-night shift and every tearful negative test. Yet lately, there had been subtle shifts, a distant look in his eyes, unexplained absences he blamed on work emergencies, and a growing silence between us that I attributed to our mutual grief, but pushed aside, focusing on my career. Now, as I made the first incision, the blade gliding through skin and muscle with precision, the room filled with the orchestrated chaos of nurses handing instruments, anesthesiologists monitoring vitals, and my resident assisting with suction. The woman's name was Sophia according to her ID, a stranger to me, or so I thought. Her chart revealed she was 32 weeks along, healthy pregnancy, until the accident. No known allergies, blood type O positive, just like Marcus and me. But that detail barely registered as I worked to expose the uterus, careful to avoid further complications. The baby's heart rate dipped on the monitor, sending a ripple of urgency through the team. "Come on, little one, stay with us," I murmured under my mask, clamping vessels to control the bleeding and preparing for the cesarean delivery. It was then, as I lifted the uterine wall and the amniotic fluid gushed out, that I saw it first. The baby, a boy, tiny and fighting, his skin tinged blue from distress, but with a shock of dark, curly hair, identical to Marcus's, the kind that I had run my fingers through countless times. And as the neonate team whisked him away to the warmer for resuscitation, I caught a glimpse of his face. The same sharp jawline, the dimple on his chin, features that mirrored my husband's so strikingly that my hands trembled for a split second, forcing me to steady myself against the table. No, it couldn't be, I told myself, shaking off the impossible thought, focusing on closing the placental tear and ensuring Sophia's stability. But the seed of doubt had been planted, burrowing deep into my mind like a parasite. As the surgery progressed successfully, the bleeding staunched, the uterus repaired, and Sophia stabilized for recovery in the ICU, I stepped out into the hallway, peeling off my gloves, my heart pounding, not from exhaustion, but from a growing dread that clawed at my chest. Why did the baby look so much like Marcus? Was it coincidence, a trick of the light, or something far more sinister? I needed answers. So, after scrubbing out, I headed to the neonatal unit, where the baby now cried lustily under the lights, his vital signs strong, a fighter, just like his father. The nurse handed me his preliminary blood work, part of the standard protocol for trauma births, and there it was. The blood type matched, but more damning, the rare genetic marker for a hereditary condition Marcus carried, a benign enzyme deficiency that ran in his family, something we had discussed during our fertility consultations. And as I stared at the report, my world tilted, the pieces clicking into place with horrifying clarity. This couldn't be random. The odds were astronomical. But how? When Sophia stirred in recovery hours later, I found myself drawn to her bedside, under the pretense of a post-op check, her eyes open and groggily as she reached for my hand. "Thank you, doctor, for saving us," she whispered, her voice weak but grateful. And then she asked about the father. "Has he been notified? Marcus, he was supposed to meet me." Marcus, my Marcus, the name hit me like a freight train. Confirmation of the unthinkable. My husband was the father of this child. The man I loved, the one who had vowed fidelity in our beachside wedding, now exposed as a betrayer. But as shock gave way to rage, adding layers of suspense as I balanced motherhood with sleuthing, late nights poring over hacked emails, thanks to a tech-savvy friend revealing the specialist's ties to a larger ring of medical fraud, where embryos were swapped and records falsified for profit. The emotional toll weighed heavy on me. Flashbacks to my own childhood abandonment by my father, who had left for his secret family, haunting my dreams, mirroring Sophia's pain and drawing us even closer in heartfelt conversations, where we shared stories of loss and longing, her recounting how she grew up in foster care, always wondering about her roots, and me confessing the void his absence left in my heart. A bond that blossomed into sisterly love amidst the chaos. Marcus, too, underwent his own transformation, attending therapy sessions to unpack his insecurities about fatherhood and the pressures of our infertility journey, his remorse palpable in every gesture, from bringing home flowers to volunteering at the NICU, where our son, little Alexander, named after my grandfather, thrived under careful watch. The twists multiplied when a routine checkup revealed another miracle. Sophia was pregnant again, this time naturally, with her own partner, a man she had met post-crash who supported her through recovery. But wait, the ultrasound showed twins, and in a heart-touching moment, she offered one to us as adoption if we wanted, expanding our family in ways unimaginable. The thriller element escalated with a break-in at our home, files on the clinic stolen, but backups on a hidden drive, allowing me to tip off authorities anonymously, leading to arrests that made headlines. The specialist's confession unraveling the web and clearing our names from any wrongdoing. The emotional peaks and valleys continued as Alexander's transplant day arrived, Sophia donating stem cells in a procedure that saved his life. Her sacrifice a testament to newfound family ties, tears flowing freely in the waiting room where Marcus and I clung to each other, rediscovering the love that had been buried under layers of deceit and despair. Flashbacks interwove the narrative, taking me back to our wedding day, the sun setting over the ocean as we danced barefoot on sand, promising forever, now tested and tempered by fire. The story's miracle unfolded fully when a year later we gathered for Alexander's first birthday, Sophia and her twins by our side, the house filled with laughter and the scent of cake. No more secrets, no more shadows, just a tapestry of lives intertwined by fate's dramatic hand. The suspense thriller aspects giving way to pure emotional bliss as I reflected on how one stormy night in the OR had led to this, a family reborn from the ashes of betrayal, stronger, unbreakable, and filled with endless possibilities. The heart-touching essence lying in the unexpected reveals that taught me forgiveness isn't weakness, but the ultimate strength, and that miracles often hide in the midst of our greatest trials, waiting to be uncovered like hidden treasures in the depths of our souls. Yet to truly expand this tale further, let's delve deeper into the backstory of how Marcus and I met. It was during medical school, a rainy afternoon in the library, where he spilled coffee on my notes, apologizing profusely with that dimpled smile that melted my defenses. We studied together late into the nights, sharing dreams of healing the world, he specializing in hearts, ironically, while I focused on bringing life into it. Our courtship, a whirlwind of stolen kisses in hospital elevators and weekend getaways to the mountains, where we hiked and talked about the children we would have one day. But infertility struck like a silent thief, robbing us of that joy, cycle after cycle of hope dashed, leading to arguments where words cut deep. Yet we clung to each other, or so I thought. The introduction of Sophia added complexity. Her arrival in our lives not random, but orchestrated by destiny. She had tracked me down after the DNA test, contacting Marcus first as my husband, figuring he could break the news gently. But he saw an opportunity in her offer to surrogate, a way to give me the child I craved without the physical toll. The affair blossoming from proximity during appointments where emotions ran high. The crash itself a pivotal twist, caused by a reckless driver fleeing a crime scene, adding a layer of external mystery as police investigations intersected with our personal drama, wondering if the accident was targeted or mere coincidence. The hospital intrigue intensified with suspicious figures lingering near Sophia's room, prompting me to install hidden cameras, revealing a nurse on the take from the clinic trying to tamper with records. A chase through dimly lit parking garages ensued, my heart racing as I confronted her, extracting a confession that unraveled more threads. The emotional miracle peaking when Alexander opened his eyes post-transplant, looking up at me with Marcus's gaze, but my spirit, a blend that promised a future free from the shadows of the past. Sophia's own story fleshed out with tales of her resilient journey from orphan to successful artist, her paintings adorning our walls now, symbols of rebirth and connection. The family dinners we shared becoming rituals, laughter echoing where silence once reigned. Marcus proving his change through actions, not words, rebuilding trust brick by brick. The narrative twisting again with the discovery of my father's old letters hidden in Sophia's possessions, apologies never sent that brought closure to wounds long festered. Reading them together, we cried and forgave the ghosts of yesteryear. The thriller climax arriving with the trial of the fertility ring, where I testified anonymously, my voice steady despite the fear. The verdict, a catharsis, justice served, allowing us to move forward unburdened. The heart-touching finale, a vow renewal ceremony on the same beach, Marcus and I recommitting with Alexander in our arms, Sophia as maid of honor, her twins gurgling happily, the sun setting in a blaze of colors mirroring the passion reignited in our hearts. This story, a suspense thriller wrapped in emotional depth, with twists that kept unfolding like pages in a gripping novel. The miracle, not just in survival, but in transformation, from brokenness to wholeness, a testament to the human spirit's capacity for love amid betrayal, and the unexpected paths that lead us home, where every scar tells a tale of resilience, and every reveal a step toward redemption in the grand cinematic sweep of life. Now, as I look back on that fateful surgery, the scalpel in my hand, a tool not just for healing bodies, but for mending souls, I realize the true power lies in the connections we forge, the forgiveness we grant, and the miracles we embrace, even when they come disguised as our deepest fears and greatest pains. The end, not in conclusion, but a beginning, filled with infinite possibilities for joy and wonder in the tapestry of our shared existence. Yet to truly capture the essence, let's expand on the daily struggles post-revelation, the sleepless nights where doubt crept in, whispering what-ifs, as I watched Alexander sleep, his innocent face a reminder of the love that conceived him amidst chaos. Marcus's efforts to win me back, cooking my favorite meals, leaving notes of affirmation, attending couples counseling where raw truths spilled out like open wounds, the vulnerability building bridges over chasms of hurt, Sophia's integration into our lives, tentative at first, marked by awkward silences, then blooming into deep conversations over coffee, sharing childhood memories, piecing together the puzzle of our father's double life. Her pain mirroring mine, yet her optimism a beacon guiding us through the fog. The baby's health scares adding suspense, fevers that spiked in the night, rushing to the ER, hearts pounding, fearing the worst, only to find relief in diagnosis of minor infections, each crisis strengthening our resolve. The mystery of the stalker unraveling slowly, clues leading to the specialist's assistant, a woman scorned by his promises, who sought revenge by exposing us all. Her capture, a dramatic showdown in an abandoned warehouse, police sirens blaring as truths tumbled out. The emotional layers peeling back further with flashbacks to my residency days, the grueling hours that forged my steel will, yet left me isolated, craving connection that Marcus provided until the cracks appeared. The heart-touching moments multiplying, like when Alexander said his first word, Mama, reaching for me with chubby arms, melting away remnants of resentment. Or when Sophia gifted me a portrait of our family, captured in vibrant strokes symbolizing unity. The twists continuing with the surprise inheritance from my father. A letter revealing he knew about Sophia all along, leaving funds for her education that she never received due to his untimely death. Adding financial intrigue as we tracked down embezzled money, recovering it to secure our futures. The thriller pace quickening with anonymous calls threatening leaks to the press, forcing us to go public on our terms. A press conference where I stood tall, sharing our story of redemption, turning potential scandal into inspiration for others facing infertility and betrayal. The miracle unfolding in community support, letters pouring in from strangers touched by our tale, offering hope in their darkness. The family expanding, not just with Sophia's twins, with adopted pets, a dog that Alexander adored, chasing through the yard, laughter filling the air where tension once lingered. Marcus's career shift to pediatric cardiology, inspired by our son, allowing more family time, balancing work and home. The narrative weaving in subplots, like my return to surgery with renewed passion, mentoring young doctors on ethics and compassion, drawing from our ordeal. The emotional climax, a family vacation to the mountains, retracing our early dates, hiking trails with Alexander in a carrier, his giggles echoing the joy reborn. The suspense elements fading, but leaving an imprint of cautionary wisdom. The heart-touching miracle story culminating in a book I wrote, chronicling our journey, becoming a bestseller, spreading messages of forgiveness and resilience. The reveals unexpected yet profound, teaching that life's greatest thrillers are the ones we live through, emerging victorious not despite the twists, but because of them. In this cinematic narration,